Before you go to Namibia and you are looking for information, then you must watch this video.
Namibia, an African country of great beauty, very rich of natural resources, and with astonishing landscapes. This country is huge. It is twice the size of France, but with a population that is below 3 million. Namibia is also the 10th longest coastline of Africa. The 2,000 kilometers of the coastline is dominated by the Namib Desert that goes from Angola in the north to South Africa in the south. It has less than 2 millimeters of rainfall, 50 degrees Celsius inland temperature that makes the Namib Desert one of the least hospitable location on Earth. Moreover, the strong current of the Atlantic Ocean and the fog had caused many accidents to ships that have sailed this route. It is thought that there are nearly 1,000 shipwrecks on this long coast. The famous name Skeleton Coast comes precisely from the thousands of now totally rusted shipwrecks that are found along the 2,000 kilometers of the Namib coast. Only 15% of the roads are paved, and this is the main reason you need a good vehicle to drive around. I recommend renting a Toyota Hilux from one of the many car rentals in the country. Choosing a car rental is also crucial to avoid having to interrupt your vacation due to lack of assistance. The easiest and most fun thing in Namibia is camping in the countless campsites and lodges. If you have chosen to take this camping holiday, then I recommend you choose a fully equipped car with a roof tent and everything you need to sleep comfortably and everything you need to cook. These cars, in addition to the equipment, are equipped with large fuel tanks that allow you to travel up to 1,200 kilometers with a full tank and a water tank, becoming completely independent cars even in areas where there are practically no facilities. Since the roads are quite rocky and the risk of punctures is high, these cars are also equipped with 2 spare wheels and a kit to be able to repair them completely independently. My personal advice is to take an off-road course that includes the basic rules of driving an off-road vehicle if this is your first trip to Africa. The country is large and not very busy with vast distances where there is often no one, so it is important that you are able to get by on your own if you want to avoid being stuck for hours simply. The first few days are crucial. It is easy to make a mistake while driving over these long distances without any reference to other cars. Many road accidents are caused by tourists while driving on the wrong side of the road. If you want to get a sense of this beautiful country and see the main parts it has to offer, I suggest planning this trip for no less than 2 weeks. 2 weeks is the minimum. You will have certainly seen a good part of Namibia, but if you really want to see almost all of it, you will have to come back, and you will, to spend much more time. The best time to visit Namibia is from April to September. The temperature is between 20 degrees Celsius and 25, a bit like spring in Europe. This is the car I recommend renting. As you can see, it is equipped with 2 comfortable roof tents. You have to get used to getting up and down, but after a couple of times it becomes easy. The car is also equipped with cutlery, dishes, and various pots and pans for cooking, gas stove and gas cylinder, and it usually comes with drawers for storing your shopping. The fridge freezer is also another very important asset. Many car rentals have cars equipped with lights inside the canopy. They are very useful, especially when cooking in the evening. This is the socket for the electricity. There are campsites that offer to connect to the electricity. The car has a long electric cable to connect to the power switch, so you can recharge the battery that powers the refrigerator and the batteries of the cameras and cell phones.
All great. Now that we have the right car, we can start exploring this wonderful country. There are campsites spread all over the country. They are all well organized and comfortable. The only problem is that some campsites must be booked well in advance. Since 2014, a series of sculptures made of desert stones and iron rods have begun to populate one of the most remote and uncontaminated corners of the earth. These human-like sculptures are the work of Ren and have been nicknamed the Lone Stone Men of the Desert. Despite being a single personality, Ren uses the plural to avoid any personal connotation, including gender, and to focus exclusively on the works. The stone men are an enigma in this country, and they are found in this desert paradise full of wonders. They are real stone sculptures. They are made of rock from the Cunene area and have the human figure of a man representing various personalities. Each figure is in a different position, sitting, standing, kneeling, crawling, with hands raised, clinging to a rock. The creator of these stone sculptures is completely unknown. The artist of these sculptures has practically made an open-air sculpture gallery in the forgotten landscape of Caucaland. Among the many questions we ask ourselves is, why did the artist decide to create these sculptures in this place, and why does he want to remain unknown? All these enigmas make the search for these lonely men very fun and absolutely special. But Namibia is also famous for Fish River Canyon. It is second in size to the Grand Canyon in North America and is one of the must-see destinations for those who come to Namibia. From the Fish River Canyon, about 50 kilometers away, there is an excellent lodge that has become an important stopover for me, where I can relax in beautiful campsites that are very far from each other and that offer maximum privacy. The Canyon Roadhouse. After a full day at the Fish River Canyon, I recommend you try the lodge restaurant after stopping by the bar for a nice cold beer. The lodge is located in a vast, completely uncontaminated desert mixed with sand and rock. From this hill that frames the lodge, you can see my beautiful campsite. I came here with my family and friends. As you can see, our neighbor is about 200 meters away from us. This wide openness and the distance from the other campsites makes this lodge one of my favorites. This one I'm driving on is the C14 road. I consider this road one of the most spectacular in Namibia. In Namibia, there are many beautiful roads with breathtaking landscaping, but this one is absolutely special to me. I left the city of Swakopmund and I'm heading towards the small Solitaire village. This small village is a fairly obligatory destination and in a certain sense strategic, as it is about 340 kilometers from Swakopmund and about 240 kilometers from Windhoek, and has a service station to refuel and a small grocery store. The main attraction of this small village is a collection of old abandoned cars and the famous apple pie. This is a photo from the web. I passed through this village 3 times, but unfortunately the famous apple pie was finished and the only consolation I have is to find a photo of it on the web. I'll be back in a few weeks and I hope to be luckier. The village of Solitaire and head towards Cesarium, where we will spend the night at the campsite inside the Sussersvlei Park. It is very important to sleep inside the park, so it is easier to reach the famous sand dunes very early in the morning. If you decide to stay outside the park, you should know that the gate opens at 7 a.m. and that the dunes of Sussersvlei are about 1 hour away by car. Obviously, the best photos are taken early in the morning. If you are not photographers and you do not necessarily have to wake up early in the morning, you can also stay in one of the many lodges outside the park. Driving in this park is absolutely a unique sensation. These infinite spaces without any sign of civilization, except for the asphalt, are very relaxing and do a lot of good for the spirit. At the same time, it serves to prepare physically for climbing the sand dunes of Sussersvlei. The average height of these dunes is about 200 meters, except the famous Big Daddy, which is about 380 meters, and is classified as the second highest fossil dune in the world. In front of Big Daddy, there is Big Mama, which in terms of height and difficulty in climbing is no joke. Dune 9 is another very high dune of about 350 meters. Coming down from Big Daddy, running in the sand and sinking up to the knees, you arrive at the dry salt lake of Dedzwei, where you can admire the petrified acacias. I wish I could climb all these wonderful dunes. However, I can show you some beautiful photos that I managed to take going to Big Daddy several times. After 3 wonderful days in Cesarium and Sossusvlei, here I am again in the car. Short stop at Cesarium petrol station to fill up with diesel and then off again for another adventure. In front of the petrol station there is a restaurant and grocery where you can buy water, firewood and coal, as well as simple camping items. The food they serve is not the best. The French fries were dripping old oil and the hamburger not really worth trying again. The next destination is an oasis immersed in the greenery surrounded by the desert. The campsite is under these very beautiful palm trees. The only disadvantage compared to other lodges is that the campsites are quite close to each other and too close to quite a busy road. However, it is very well positioned as it is in the direction to reach our next destination. The place is nice because it is immersed in this beautiful green and well-kept garden. I met few people who are staying in the lodge and who will stay there for about a week. The lodge offers all the possible comforts, including a beautiful swimming pool. For me, it is just a convenient stopover. And here we are again in the car on another spectacular road. We left early enough to take some nice pictures and try to see some animals. The road I am taking is again my favorite, the C14, but this time from the south, which then joins the B1 road towards the Norclough Desert. What do you think of this road? The luck makes us meet this jackal and about 50 kilometers further on also this beautiful spotted hyena that I wanted to follow to find out if there were other spotted hyenas around. After a while, the spotted hyena decided to leave the road and went into the fence of this property, disappearing in an instant from my view. Most likely it reached the rest of the pack. After this unexpected encounter with this beautiful spotted hyena, I arrive at the Desert Lodge, which is geographically inside the Norclough National Park. Those hills that you can see in front and that frame this lodge are the fossil dunes, a process of millions of years that have solidified the sand of the desert. The campsites are far from the main building and the rooms. The lodge is very crowded, so it is much better to stay in the campsite away from the noisy crowd. The advantage is that we can use the beautiful swimming pool and all the services that the lodge offers. After a nice evening at the restaurant, we return to the campsite. There are 6 campsites and mine is definitely in the best position. This evening we have very welcome visitors. A nice curious oryx who came to wish us good night. I spent 3 wonderful days in this lodge. The place is completely uncontaminated and as you can see the landscaping is exceptional. Only the first night we had neighbors in a campsite that was 500 meters from ours, so our mutual privacy was not compromised. The next 2 nights the only occupied campsite was ours. I wanted absolutely nothing better than to spend a few days of absolute relaxation. We get back on the road to go a little further south to spend 2 nights in a very exclusive lodge, the Canaan Desert Retreat, obviously always camping. This beautiful lodge offers a very relaxing atmosphere, far from roads and with absolutely breathtaking landscaping. This is the layout of the campsites that overlook the endless desert. The lodge is located in a great location. It has these tents with all the comforts that overlook this incredible valley. The next day we went to explore the area. Those rocks at the bottom overlook a valley are hosting some beautiful ostriches. In the rocky area, very far away, we were very lucky to see the famous mountain zebras. A very shy animal that always stays a long way away from any road. In fact, to photograph them, you need to have an excellent zoom lens. Coming back from our game drive, we find these cute families of meerkats. They are very cute and friendly little animals. They move in packs made up of several families and are very well organized. They move quickly, and at the campsites you have to be alert because they sneak everywhere in search of food, and sometimes they are faster than monkeys. What do these little animals eat in a desert that might seem to be just sand and rocks? Well, one of their favorite foods are scorpions, and the desert is full of them. The scorpion prefers to hide under a rock, but in an emergency it digs into the sand and disappears. One of my tips is to always wear closed shoes even if you're tempted to walk barefoot on this beautiful desert sand. Today we cross the border with South Africa, but on the way between Luderitz and AUS, we stop to admire these beautiful wild desert horses. It seems that they were imported from Germany during the First World War when Namibia was a German colony. In 1915, South Africa took control of Namibia and the Germans were forced to leave, abandoning the horses. There are probably other versions about these horses. My advice is to stop along the road when you see one of these stone pyramids. If you put one or more stones on them, this simple gesture will bring you luck and at the same time give you the chance to return to Namibia.
Siya,